art kids. It's a beautiful time of year to get outside, and this last week that we're all in the online environment is the perfect time for us to do that. So what I want you guys to do today is a nature drawing. You're going to go outside. You're going to find a beautiful plant, okay? One plant, not a whole bunch. I don't want you to do the whole landscape, just one plant. It can be a tree, it can be a cactus, it can be, a weed, it can be grass, it can be whatever you find growing that you think is beautiful. And I want you to sit down either with your Chromebook and your sketch pad or with a piece of paper and a pencil. Some colored pencils would be great. And you're going to do a nature sketch of that plant. I would like you to actually go out and sit by the plant to draw it if you can, okay? That's way better than taking a picture of it and trying to draw it from a picture, because when we look at things that are actually there, our brain has to interpret them and turn them into something flat from something that's three-dimensional that pops out at you. And if you do that from a picture, the picture is kind of like cheating because it already flattens it for you, so then your brain doesn't have to think like that. So I'm going to teach you a few things about drawing from observation, and we're going to look at the plant that I chose, and I'll kind of walk you guys through some ideas about how to do this. Alrighty, I hope that you guys are going to have an amazing time with this one. Alrighty, so here is the plant that I chose to draw, to sketch. And so you might find something different, but go out and find yourself a lovely, wonderful plant that you like and get ready to draw it. Here are a few other plants that I saw in my yard that might be great specimens for you to use for your drawing, but don't use mine. Go out and find your own plant that you can look at in real life. When we first try to draw from observation, it can be really intimidating. Our brains see 3D objects that are coming towards us, and they don't know how to make those 3D things into something that is just flat. So we kind of have to squash those things with our minds. Try thinking of the object as a bunch of flat shapes that overlap each other. Start by taking a moment to just observe or look at what you're going to draw. Look for light and dark areas. You can find the light and dark areas easier by squinting at your subject so that you can just barely see it. The light and dark areas will pop out at you more. I'm outlining the light areas for you here so that you can see that they're just shapes. The light area may be a whole leaf or often only one part of a leaf. We can also call these highlights. The dark areas are where the deeper colors are and where the shadows hang out. Often, there'll be areas under leaves or toward the bottom. Dark areas are really important because they give our artwork a sense of depth. All the things that aren't light or dark are called midtones. When you start to draw, just relax and have fun with it. No pressure. Try to see what the shapes of the leaves, the stems, and the other parts of the plant look like. Here, one leaf of the prickly pear is a heart shape, one is an oval, and one is half an oval because it's sideways to us. One of the hardest things at first is that some parts of the plant will be in front of other parts, blocking your view. That's okay. We draw the parts that are blocked from view as though they're sticking out from underneath the parts that are in front. The art word for this is overlapping, but in my class, we often call it drawing behind because that's a really great way to think about how to draw it. Some of you guys are already experts at drawing behind, but if you're just starting, here's a quick lesson on how to do it. We'll cover it more soon. All you do is remember that you're not allowed to draw over anything that you've already put down on your page. You can't draw across any lines that are already there, so you draw behind them instead. It's just like this. First the circle, but when I try to make the long rectangle behind the circle, I get as far as the outside edge. Then I have to lift up my pencil, draw the next part in the air, and when I get to the far edge of the circle, I can put my pencil down and draw on the paper again. See how I didn't draw anything inside the circle itself? Anything else I draw behind is not allowed to cross the edges that already exist. Anytime I cross a line, I have to lift up and draw in the air until I get to the other side. So no, I can't put that square on top like that. It broke the rules and crossed the lines. If I want a square, I have to draw it behind the things that I already have. Here's an example of a drawing you might do using drawing behind. One of the mountains is behind the others. The sun is behind the mountains. Notice that I have to make sure that I drew all the lines I need, including the bottom of the sun, so long as it's not in the space that the mountains are using. What if I forgot to draw something in front and there's already something in the way? I'll just erase this part so that I can fit my bird in. Once I've drawn my bird, I need to make sure to close up the lines all the way to the edge of the bird, but not over it. Drawing behind is a great skill that will help you level up your art. It's going to be your best friend as you try to do this nature drawing because plants almost always overlap, and that means you need to draw behind. So start by drawing those parts that are in front and draw the other parts behind them. I started out by blocking in all the basic shapes, including all the overlapping leaves of the cactus. I did my entire drawing using colored pencils. Once I was done blocking in the leaves, I started kind of coloring in blocks of color as I saw. If I saw that a leaf looked kind of yellow in a place, I'd add some yellow because I know with colored pencils that I can layer colors over the top of each other. I just kept working from there, especially paying attention to the lights and the darks. If I knew that an area was supposed to be light, I'd color it in really lightly so that I wouldn't accidentally color it too dark later. If I knew it was supposed to be really dark, I'd go ahead and get that area blocked in with the dark colors. And I kept on layering colors over each other. Some of my cactus had blue tones and some of it had yellow tones. I didn't have the perfect colors of green because I actually just borrowed my daughter's colored pencils and some of them were missing, but I was able to kind of mix colors to make it work for the way that I saw it. You might notice that some of my drawing goes right off the page, and that's fine. Just remember, never, ever, ever try to squish your drawing into the page. If it doesn't fit, let it go right off, just like the edge is a big cliff and the rest of your drawing is in the air out there. That looks way better than ever trying to squish anything in. Also remember to anchor your drawing. So at the base of my drawing, I almost ran out because I actually started drawing kind of in the middle and then worked downward, and I kind of ran out of room toward the bottom, but I was still able to get in some shadow and some ground down there to kind of just anchor the drawing in place because we never want to make drawings that are just floating in outer space. The last thing I did was go back in and darken some, but not all, of my lines around the edge. If you darken all of your lines, you're going to end up with something that looks really cartoony. But if you only darken and thicken some of your lines, it's going to really add some impact to your drawing. I also added some areas for spines, but I didn't bother adding all of them. And the one thing that I knew I was doing wrong is that I was using a gray to make my spines when really I needed white. But I didn't have anything in a strong enough white right now to get those really strong spines in where the light was reflecting on them, so I just went with the gray. You guys may have noticed that I kind of cheated a little bit and I drew from the picture because I wanted you guys to be able to see what I was drawing as you saw the picture. But remember, I want you guys to go outside in nature and draw from what you're actually seeing for real in real life, not from a picture. So now it's your turn. I really can't wait to see the cool drawings that you guys come up with, and I hope that you have a wonderful time enjoying the beautiful weather that we have outside right now.